talk about language plateaus. If you're a language learner, you're already familiar with the idea or the term of a language plateau. If not, you're going to experience one at some point during your language learning journey. A language plateau is basically that moment where you feel like you're not learning as fast or you're not learning anything at all. It's really frustrating and it seems as if you're not making any progress at all in your language. It's really normal to experience a language plateau. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong necessarily. There may be things that you can change your language learning routine, but there is a possibility that you're doing everything right and you'll still end up facing a language plateau. It's just something that usually happens. The reason why it happens is because as you move up in a language, it's going to be harder to get from one point to the next. For example, it's going to be much easier to get from A1 to A2 in a language than it is to get from B1 to B2. The more you go up in the language is the wider that gap gets between the levels. What should you do when you're experiencing a language plateau? Obviously, this is going to be different from everyone, but taking a break and re-evaluating why you're learning the language and also your goals and setting achievable, attainable goals can really help when you're experiencing a language plateau. What I did when I experienced a language plateau last year with French, I took a step back. So I reduced my expectations and I started doing things that were much easier for me. So for example, if what I was trying to achieve at that time was to understand spoken French, instead of listening to a fast audio or native speaker speaking naturally, I would start listening to something slower and I would use the subtitles instead of trying to challenge myself. And then when I got comfortable with that, then I move on to something harder. It is okay for you to take a break if you need to, but that's something I just never did. What I did instead was just I took a step back, I reduced my expectations, and then I tried to find ways to enjoy the language without always actively learning it. So I'd watch cartoons and listen to things that I like and do it in a way that was much easier than what I was doing before when I was struggling with the language. Then I continued doing this and eventually I got out of the language plateau without even realizing it. Something else I did also was to stop trying to learn new things and maintain the things that I already know. So instead of doing active learning, for example, with grammar, then I'll just take a step back. I'd stay away from those activities for a while and just use French or listen to French in a way that was enjoyable to me. I haven't experienced a language plateau in a while, but I think that's mostly because I've accepted that getting to the point where I want to get to in my languages is going to take a lot of work, and I cannot focus on that. I have to focus on doing the things that I actually need to get there. Right now, I'm trying to become more comfortable with the languages I'm learning. Instead of focusing on the destination that I want to get to, instead I focus on what I can do at this moment to help me progress in the language, and that's something that really helps me to keep those language plateaus at bay.